This beginning, everything started with the Bible. And it's in the Bible already written, the man fall. That means we, the man, accept the apple of the wife. This was our main sin. And the sin of Germany was the election of 1932. In November 1932, we had elections in Germany. In Germany, we have often elections. But in 1932, it was a hard one. This man got the order to get a government together, Kurt von Schleicher. But he failed. Too many parties did not come together. They had discussions to come together to a government. And for these people, they are not coming from Germany. We had last year elections in Germany. Last year we had elections. And it happens by sudden. That is a similarity between 1932 and our election last year. Because last year they had also problems to get a government together. They talked to each other, failed at the end, but at the end, after 8 months, they came together with the government. In this election, it was not in this way. The president lost his temper, and on the 30th of January 1933, he appointed this man, Adolf Hitler, as the Chancellor of the Reich. His party wasn't the biggest one, but he was big enough to make a government. But the president says, oh, something is not kosher. And said, okay, I will dissolve the parliament, and we have new elections on the 5th of March 1933. So he was appointed as a Chancellor on the 30th of January, and the 5th of March the next election will be. So that means it's only 1 month for advertising, let me say it this way, advertising. And this man came up with a slogan: I will make Germany great again. Germany first. I will make Germany great again. And by the way, we have bad deals. The Treaty of Versailles is a bad deal, and I will make better deals for Germany. I will make Germany great again. And this is the result of the election, 1933. You see, this is Germany, Bavaria, around about 40% Nazi party. But I'm interested more now in the area of Dresden. If we concentrate in this area here, Saxonia, Dresden. Dresden is more important. But if you look, the result of the election last year. This is the result of the election last year for the Alternative for Germany. Look at this area of Dresden, and then 40% Nazis, and last year 35% of the right-wing party. I think this should give us something to think about. 5th of March was the election. On the 21st of March, the president of the police in Munich, this man here, Heinrich Himmler, announced in the press that the next day the concentration camp of Dachau will be opened. On the 22nd of March 1933, the first 150 prisoners came in the concentration camp. Who was these people? This was the people, the Social Democrats, the Communists, and the members of the unions. This was the opposition against the Nazis. From the beginning, the The Social Democrats, the Communists, and the Unions were against Adolf Hitler. And this government wasted no time to cut off the opposition. You were sent to the concentration camp Dachau. Dachau was the first, Oranienburg the second. And 150 prisoners sounds not much. But at the same moment, already 27,000 Germans were sitting in SS camps, in police stations, and waiting until the next concentration camp will be opened in the surroundings. And if we go back in history now, the last 5 years, we have a military putsch in Turkey, a so-named military putsch. And believe me, I worked with the Turkish military together in the Gulf War. And if the military in Turkey is making a putsch, they will do it. So the government was taking this putsch to get rid of the opposition in Turkey. 230,000 people per list were sent in prison. And they are still waiting today for the court to cut off the opposition. It happened 1933, and it happened nowadays. This was the beginning, or the establishing of the suppression state. And this system was very perfect. I'm working together with Dachau concentration camp memorial site. And they have a database. From 1933 until 1945, 196,000 people were in Dachau. 196,000. I have the database. I have the date of birth and the place of birth. And if I look in this database, you will find from each village of the county of Landsberg, somebody was in Dachau for 1 month or 3 months. The state were taking out the people from the villages, put them in the concentration camp, and they are stopped talking, stopped thinking. The opposition was blended out. A perfect system. On the 10th of May 1933, we remember the 5th of March was the election. The 10th of May, books were burning in Germany. The Nazis, the young students, Nazis, made a decision to clean out the libraries. That's the word. Always looking the same word. The libraries. To clean out the libraries from everything what is not German. That means Jewish professors writing books. These books were burned. But not only that, other books also. I give you 2 examples. Erich Maria Remarque, Im Westen nichts Neues. In the West, Nothing New in the West is the English title. It's a famous novel. The novel is about the history of the First World War. You know, a young man went to the military, his basic training and his treatment in the military, and then he went to Verdun, on the battlefield of Verdun. And he explains exactly how funny it is to die on a battlefield, to killed by bullets and dismantled by grenades. And the Nazis were not happy about that because they were preparing the next war already. If a young man is reading the reality of a war, he will not go to a war. So therefore, Erich Maria Remarque was banned and burned. On the right side, Erich Kästner. Erich Kästner is a famous man writing books after the war. This is a children's book. This children's book was published in autumn 32. And this is a story about a boarding school. A boarding school, like it was in Sankt Ottilien, And this is the story about a class and the teacher. And the specialty is that the teacher and the people are on the same level. They are friends. And the Nazis are not happy with that because they would like to educate the youth for the next war. You know, under the pressure to follow order, law and order. So therefore, Erich Kästner was banned and the book was burned. After the war, Erich Kästner built up literature in Germany. In Munich he was living. This was the beginning of the establishment of the monitoring state. The state tried to control what the people are doing, what the people are reading. And I have young peoples here. Young peoples, they are not interested in books anymore. Some of them do not know what a book is. But if you're talking about a book, this is only the material. What we're talking about data. And what is important today? The internet. And we have states controlling the internet. China, North Korea, Egypt, Turkey, and also the social media, Facebook, is controlled by the state. Because with this media, you can bring up your mind. And the states do not like that. And this is also important for us. For example, in Europe, we have a net point of the internet. This is the main stream to America. It's sitting in England. And this is interesting that exactly on the next street where the main point is, the CIA is there, then MI5 is sitting there. Because they are controlling the internet. What is the difference between burning books and controlling the internet? Nothing. This is only the media. This is a page. Don't try to read. This is only a page. This is the signature of Adolf Hitler. This is the signature of Fricke. And this page is changing the world, but not to its best. This is the citizen law. This is a law signed 50th of September 1935 on the party in Nuremberg, not in the parliament in Berlin. The party meet in Nuremberg and signed a law. So the democracy was dismantled. It was dictatorship. And the citizen law, what does it say? The citizen law is a regulation who is German and who is not German. The paragraph 1 says, subject of the state is a person who enjoys the protection of the German Reich. That means everybody who is living in Germany is a German. It doesn't matter which religion, which color of skin. You live in Germany, you are German. But paragraph 2 is now interesting. Because here, Reichscitizen is a new person. Reichscitizen is a subject of the state who is of German or related blood. Wow. If you're Arya, if you have German blood, then you are a Reichscitizen. So we have a two-class society. And now we have the interesting point. The Reichscitizen is the sole bearer of the full political rights. That means only if you have German blood, you are allowed to vote or to be voted. That means that our Jewish colleagues, Jewish Germans, are not allowed to vote because they do not have German blood. So therefore, they are not allowed to be Beamte. They are not allowed to be policemen. They are not allowed to be in the government. They kicked out of the society. And this ended in the pogroms of 1938, Reichskristallnacht, where the synagogues in Germany started to burn. 1941, the German Jewish has to wear the Star of David to show on the street that these persons do not belong to the Germans. In 1941, the first trains went to the killing camps in the east. What I am waiting now at the moment is when Trump is inviting the Golden Tortilla to show that the Mexicans are not Americans, because he started already to build the wall. And the next step will be the Golden Tortilla. 1st of September 1939, the Germans invaded Poland. Poland was allied with the French and the English. The French and the English set an ultimatum to Germany to leave the country in 14 days. The Germans did not accept this, and this was the beginning of the Second World War. Now we will make a jump forward. In the year 1943, I will make Germany great again. This is Germany 1943. Everybody who is allied with Germany, or the rest was conquered. There was only one front in the east. The war in the east, the war with the Russians. The Russians were together with the British and the American. The American and the British, they had no border to each other. So the only chance what the American and the British had was the air war against Germany. And this is now the key word, air war. Let's have a look how the Germans built aircrafts in this time. Aircraft were built in big hangars in one piece in small places. This is mass production of the Messerschmitt 109. This was the standard fighter for German Air Force. And you see, in the middle of Germany, 1/3 of the production of the 109 is concentrated. And the Americans and the British recognize these, and they make a decision. In the week of the 20th to the 25th of February 1944, the decision was made to destroy the aircraft factories in Germany. 1 week, they bombed the factories. This is the result. This is Erla, next to Leipzig. Nothing was left. 350 109s were destroyed. This factory had to produce in this month 400 aircrafts. 340 were destroyed. It was a full success of the British and the Americans. The Germans were shocked. What to do? And now, this is a typical German behavior. If you're stuck, fancy a working group. And the working group was established. And this is here the Minister Albrecht Speer. He made an order to safeguard the fighter production. The fighter working group is established for the duration of 6 months. Its task is to repair the damaged factories or the dispersal production. So, we have a working group to overcome the problem. And we have here another paper, an interesting paper. This paper is signed by Hermann Göring, the chief of the German Air Force. But Germany was a dictatorship. And a dictatorship is always, you can recognize it, because you have no free economic. It's always a controlled economic. A plan for 4 years or 5 years, like North Korea, China. And that was also in Germany. And Göring was the chief of this group, der Beauftragte für den 4-Jahresplan. He was the chief of this planned economics. And he makes this paper with a 3-step plan. The first step was to overcome the bombing damage within industry. The second was transfer, decentralize and increase the current production. And the third, this is important, creation of bomb-proof production facility. Creation of bomb-proof production facility. This is the first minute of our bunker. The next what was done is that the aircraft was not built in one piece, it was built in modular principle. You have the fuselage, you have the wings, you have the engine, and you have the undercarriage. And if you look what the company of Airbus is doing today, this is the A380, the biggest aircraft in the world. And you see this aircraft is produced in modular principle. Because you can disperse it. You have production sites in Germany, England, France, and Spain. And you bring all the parts together on one spot, and here the aircraft is assembled. And this exactly that what we did in the Second World War. This is a sawmill somewhere in Swabia. If you go in this hangar, you can see that here the trees are cut. And here is a door. And if you go through the Dornier company is producing fuselages for the Doe 335. You see a complete fuselage ready, another 3 ready to pick up. 2 or 3 times a week, the fuselages are picked up at a train and brought to Munich for assembling to an aircraft. Railway lines with a lot of tunnels were closed in Germany. The tunnels were closed with a door so that the wind is not going through. And here you put benches in, and in this tunnel they produced wings of the 109. All these started to take forward. And this you can see in the statistic for the fighter production for the year 1944. We have in January an output 1,500 aircrafts. In February, 1,100, a loss of only 400, but Germany was shocked. And the fighter working group was established. And then you can see step by step by step, it goes up and up. And in September 1944, we had an output of 3,375 fighters per month. 3,375 a month. You know, we, the German Air Force today, this year, we are waiting to get from industry 14 fighters. To build an aircraft, you need 100,000 square meters of production. And this you can bring in a bunker. Everything what you need for an aircraft production is delivered with the train. Alloy sheets, prepared parts of the aircraft, everything is delivered with a train. Inside the bunker, you have an assembly line over 5 floors and 30,000 workers in 3 shifts are working. At the end of the production line, a complete aircraft is finished and packed in boxes. The train is empty, the boxes were put on the train, and the train puts the boxes in so-called Waldwerkstätte. That means in the forest, under cover nets, the production line was built up, and here the aircrafts were brought together. An assembly line. You see that? Like the modern car industry is doing the same. This production line was moving forward every 15 minutes. That means every 15 minutes an aircraft was ready. Every 15 minutes an aircraft was handed over to the German Air Force. 2 of these production lines were working, one in Günzburg by Ulm and another one next to Regensburg. The production line for our aircrafts were plans to have in Kaufbeuer. The idea of these underground factories came from Xaver Dorsch. Xaver Dorsch was a member of Albert Speer, but Albert Speer put everything in the drawer. He was not interested in that. But Dorsch was not stupid, he was a smart guy. During a meeting he went to Göring, and Göring was favorized, and he went to Adolf Hitler, and Adolf Hitler was happy. Now he has a solution that the Americans can't bomb his aircraft anymore. He was favorized that he made an order. This is an original Mein Führer, also der Führer, Führerhauptquartier, signed by Adolf Hitler. And here it is written, I instruct the leader of the OT, Dorsch, to carry out the constructions of 6 bunkers as already ordered by me. 6 of these underground factories were planned in Germany. Now we will have a look where these these factories were planned to build. The first one was in Bietburg. This is 30 kilometers west of Cologne. This is Cologne, and here is Bietburg. The problem with this production site is that we have here the Netherlands and we have here Belgium. Here is the German town Aachen. Aachen is the first German town in American hands. The Americans went there the 1st of November 1944. So the battlefront was too close. So therefore the production line was closed. Today everything is gone because we have a coal mine over there. Nothing is left. The second bunker was planned to have 2 kilometers in north of us. This is the construction site. Code name is Walnut 2. The third bunker is our bunker. We will visit later on. This is the code name is Vineyard 2. The fourth is 2 kilometers south of us. This is the the construction site. Here, see, this is the Eginger street where you come from, and here is the entrance of our Kaserne today. Code name Diana 2. The fifth bunker is 80 kilometers east of Munich, in the area of Mühldorf. This is the code name Vineyard 1. And the last and sixth bunker was 50 kilometers north of Prague. This is the only bunker I have no picture yet. 6 of these bunkers were planned. And now, what kind of aircraft was built? This is minutes. You know, we Germans, we wrote everything down. Everything is recorded. And this is a minute. We have located the Do 335 in a facility in Kaufring, the Messerschmitt 262 in another one in Kaufring, and at the third one we located Focke-Wulf. So that you know what we are talking about, this is a Dornier 335, the fastest ever built piston engine aircraft. 2,500 horsepower in the front, 2,500 horsepower in the back end. This aircraft was so fast that the pilot can't eject, so therefore the first ejection seat was involved. So this was the first aircraft with an ejection seat. The second was the Messerschmitt 262, the first in series built jet aircraft. And the third was the Tank 152. This was a product of the company Focke-Wulf, and this was the best fighter in the European sky, 1945. This 3 aircraft was planned to build here in Landsberg. And who built it? We need someone who is able to make concrete. So the Germans built in the 30s motorways out of concrete. So these people, the chief of these people were Fritz Todt. Therefore was the name of this organization Todt. These people built motorways in Germany, and in the war they built harbor for example, in Norway, or submarine bunkers in France, or the bunker against the American invasion in force on the Atlantic. Organization TOT, specialized for concrete. And we got the order to make our bunker. Now we have a look how the bunker was built. At first you cut the trees, and then you build a railway line on the field, and over the railway line you put concrete, like a tunnel. And then on the left and the right side you start to dig out the foundations. The gravel were put on top of the tunnel. And then you start to build concrete mixing plants here on the spot. Because Landsberg has 16-meter gravel before the groundwater is coming. And the gravel has the right size only to put water and cement on when you have the ready concrete. So the concrete was made here, and then left on the right side the foundation was poured. And then the Germans used the mountain of gravel as a support. And on top of the mountain they put a half dome, 3 meters thick, 33 meters long. When everything was ready, the railway line was extended, the foundation was digged out. In the meantime, the concrete was hardened and ready to use. So then they went with the train through the tunnel and digged out the gravel. The gravel was digged in the train. The train brought the gravel to the front, and everything was removed. An empty hall was left. And this empty hall, they start to make columns. In the columns you put prepared beams in, and ready was the production line. So that means here they start with the production line, here they emptied the gravel, and here they built the bunker. This bunker was built from the north to the south. The end of the war was the 21st of April. How we know that? Concrete must prove the hardness. That means you have proof blocks. And these proof blocks of concrete were put under hydraulic pressure until they break, and you know how strong concrete is. These proof blocks were, at the end of the war, were laying around here, everywhere. And the farmers took them home, because farmers need everything. And now, after 70 years, the farmers bring back these blocks. And here, this is the original. This is the photo, and here is the original. And we have the date on, the 21st of April, 45. This is the youngest block we have. And therefore, we knew that at least in the 21st of April, the last concrete was mixed here. This date is important because the Americans arrived here on the 27th. That means 6 days before the American came here, the last concrete was done. And we knew from eyewitness that we worked here until the 25th of April before everything was closed. 5 years ago, I made a presentation. The man jumped up and says, "This is mine. This is mine." I was also laughing and asked him, "What idea you have?" And he says, now we found out that this man was Wolf Prensky. Wolf Prensky was here in the concentration camp. He worked here. This is Wolf after his liberation in the age of 13 years. And his job in the concentration camp was with the buckle to go to the mixing plant, to take the concrete, to do the block. And when the block was ready, hard, he put it to the engineer for testing purpose. It was really his block. He survived, and he is living today in Washington, D.C., and 3 years ago, it's the last time he visited us. Now we take the drawings away, and what we can see, this is an aeronautical picture from the construction site. You can see the jungle. You see the mountain of gravel, left on the right side already the foundation ready, and this is 3 meters of steel concrete. This is the roof already finished. We have here the entrances, 3 by 3 meters. This is to suck in the air for the production line. If you turn now the pictures of 180 degrees, you can recognize how many segments were done. The first segment, 33 meters, the second, 40, and then we have 8 segments with 20 meters. And if you calculate them together, we have 233 meters ready. And this is the length of the bunker today also. We have only attached here an airlock for the entrance of trucks on the north end. On the south end, we have the entrance where we later will enter the bunker. This is the north end. So you have some calculation, dimensions. 83 meters on the basis, 3 meters thick of roof. And that was the plan, to have additional 2 meters attached to it, because you need 5 meters to withdraw the strongest American bomb. But 2 meters, it was only the plan, it stayed with 3 meters. And the height, this is 25 meters, 60% above the earth, 40% underneath the earth. This is the only drawing what we have. This is the foundation. So that you can recognize dimensions, we're talking about 16 meters in the deep, 8.5 meters in a height. And this is a person. So you recognize how small you are down there. And this is the foundation before it was poured with concrete. 8.5 meters deep, 16 meters wide, and everything is filled up with concrete. This is the preparation of the roof already. This is 3 meters of steel for reinforcement. But this is real steel, not like if you go to a construction site today, the steel what you're using is like a small finger. This is 36 millimeters steel. So that you have an idea what we're talking about. The Eiffelturm, the Tower of Paris, weight 10,000 tons. And we used up in our bunker 11,000 tons of steel. So yeah, that means we have 1 time the Tower of Eiffel in our bunker for reinforcement. The concrete is done automatically. You see, the concrete is pumped in the building 14 days and 14 nights. The pumps were pumping and the first segment was ready. Now we're coming to the inside construction. 5 floors. Also, entrance with the train. Everything must be prepared, and therefore you need prepared, precasted concrete beams. And therefore a complete factory was built up from scratch. It was located in Utting am Ammersee. This is the Lake Ammer. This is the train station Utting am Ammersee. This is the construction site. These 2 hangars, and this is the concentration camp to it, and this is the mass grave to the concentration camp. And for prepared concrete beams, you need also gravel. Therefore, a small gauge train was built up. You see here, this is the gravel pit. And if we blew up the gravel pit, you know, I like the Air Force, we can do that. You can see a train here. This is a train. This is the steam locomotive. White steam is coming out of the locomotive, and you can see that the steam is making a shadow. And if you calculate this, that means it is 10 o'clock in the morning when the sun rises up over Andex. In the hangar, on the ground on the hangar, there were pits, and there you put the steel in, and then you fill it up with concrete. And everything was heated up with warm water. That means the concrete hardened out fast. So after 12 hours you can take the pieces out of the pits and put them somewhere else. In 3 days everything was finished. And When it was finished, it was brought with the train to the bunker. You see, the train is delivering parts of the roof. And here, everything is then brought in the bunker. You can see here the bunker. This is a picture inside, outside. 5 of the big cranes are inside to bring everything in place. And this is already the train gallery. On top of it, the train was moving. Well, you can see it on this picture. We have 1, 2, 3 train cars unloaded by the crane here, and here the columns where the parts were put in. Here you can see, this is the first picture. You can see 2 things. This is the first picture where we can see concentration camp slaves. These people here had to unload the train with a shovel. On the other hand, you can see here the big beams out of concrete and steel, 8 meters long and 4 tons heavy. And here they are installed. This is the ground of the 5th level. We have beams on the other side, and the 5th level was ready. 5 years ago, I found the beams in the forest here in the Kaserne, because 1945 everything was thrown away. The trees were growing in the middle. We cut off the trees, we safeguard these beams, and these are original beams made in Utting am Ammersee from people, Jewish people. Now we came to the point, who did all this? As I told you before, everything is written down. We Germans, we wrote everything. And here it is written, to start the work for the bunkers, the first transport has arrived at the concentration campsites. We are waiting for the Hungarian Jews. In total, we need approximately 250,000 workers for the bunkers and other constructions. 250,000 people. Where to take? Germany is in the 5th year of war. All the men are on the front. The females are in the factories to replace the men. Where to get 250,000 people? Now we have an interesting letter going around. Göring, chief of the German Air Force, and Himmler, chief of the SS. Göring is writing to Himmler. Lieber Himmler, at the same time I ask you to put as many dispersal as great a number of concentration camp convicts as possible for air armament, as this kind of manpower proved to be very useful according to previous experiences. The situation of the air war makes subterranean transfer of industry necessary. For work of this kind, concentration camps convicts can be especially well concentrated at work in the camp. Such installations are necessary in order to secure production of the now fully developed most modern airplanes. Heil Hitler, ihr Göring, Reichsmarschall des Großdeutschen Reiches. So, Göring is writing to Himmler SS. And now we have the answer. Himmler is writing back to Göring. Hochverehrter Herr Reichsmarschall, I have received your telex and have ordered SS General Kohl to act in accordance with it. We will support the dispersal of industry underground as much as we can and will participate on the production itself. So this letter, the German, what you can read over there, this is a brown-nosing letter. It means they hate each other, but they need each other. Himmler needed aircraft because he would like to have aircraft for the SS, and Göring needs people to produce these aircraft. So therefore, they need each other. Therefore, this kind of letter. Now we're coming back in the hierarchy of the SS. Himmler is writing to Pohl, Oswald Pohl, SS Obergruppenführer. This is the highest general rank what the SS has. And he is the chief of the SS Wirtschaftsverwaltungshauptamt in Berlin. This is the highest, the biggest, was ist Verwaltung? Administration, SS administration things. The highest SS administration in Berlin. And he's the big boss. And Himmler is writing to Oswald Pohl. please find attached a telex. Advise me on the progress we have with our participation on aircraft production and the dispersal of industry in the underground. So this is a military, hey, you have the order, do it. Now we are going deeper in the SS hierarchy. We have here a telex written by Mr. Fesenmeyer. Fesenmeyer is member of the German ambassador in Budapest, Hungary. And he is writing to his boss. His boss is Eichmann. Eichmann is sitting in Berlin im Wirtschaftsverwaltungshauptamt, and he is responsible for the logistics. He is responsible for the transport of the Jews to the camps in the east for killing. And now, 1944, he tries to get all the rest of the Jewish people back to the German Reich for construction sites, workers. So, Fesenmeyer is writing to Eichmann, Berlin. Fesenmeyer reports to Eichmann that 500,000 Jews are prepared for transportation to Germany. 5,000 are already for transportation, and the rest will follow every 3 to 4 days in batches to 5,000. 500,000 people, every 3 to 4 days, batches of 5,000. And exactly that happened in Hungary. The Jews were come together, were put on the train and were put to Auschwitz. The pictures I show you now are original pictures. Because the SS were so proud about that, what they have done, that they ordered a photograph to take pictures, 80 pictures, how to treat a transport with arrival in Auschwitz. And what you can see is 5,000 people standing in the ramp of Auschwitz. So what you can see is babies, mothers, you see old people, children, females. But you need strong people to build the bunker. So therefore, he selected the people, able to work and not able to work. From a transport of 5,000 people, a maximum of 800 to 900 people were able to work, and the rest had to disperse off. This is the result of the selection. These are the men strong enough to work, sometimes also Jews, young people, and sometimes also a female. And this is the rest. These are the babies, the mothers, the grandparents, the old, the crippled, not able to work, ill people. Here you see, this is the first person of the column. And what you can see here is Auschwitz from a different view. You see the famous gate, 3 tracks, and the people had to march here on this road. And behind me is the gas chamber number 3, filling capacity 1,000 people. If the gas chamber was full, the people had to walk on the other side of the street, and here the gas chamber number 4 was waiting. And if this chamber was full, gas chamber 5 and 6 were waiting. The death factory Auschwitz was working on a full capacity in March 1944. Before, it was only a trial. March 44, they started with full capacity. In June, the man, Höss, who was in charge for that, sent a telex to Berlin that 440,000 people are killed. At the end, in November, it was 1.2 million. The killing was closed in November 44. And the Germans, because the Russians came too close, and the Germans tried to get rid of every evidence. You see, this is the gas chamber number 4, blown up. On the 27th of January 1945, the Russian troops entered Auschwitz. and everything was finished. This man is my friend. He's a Polish Jew. He grew up in the ghetto of Lodz. This is his family in the ghetto of Lodz. His mom, his brother, himself, his grandma, his aunt, and his father. The grandma died in Lodz. On the 20th of August 1944, the ghetto of Lodz was closed to get workers for our bunker. All the people had to go to the train and they were sent to Auschwitz for selection. Bernhard saw his mother and his brother the last time on the ramp. He, his aunt, and his father was selected as able to work. We have here the archive of Auschwitz. Here in these boxes you can find these file cards. Markowski Berg, this is my friend. Markowski Josef, this is his father. There's no file card existing of his brother. There's no file card existing of his mother. These people went away from the earth without any evidence, gone in the air. On the 1st of September 1944, a transport of 3,200 people was sent to Kaufring. Everybody was registered with the number, the name, the first name, the date of birth. We have here the number 96136, Markowski Berg, my friend, Markowski Josef, his father. What you can see also is the German bureaucracy. If somebody died, he is stamped off with the date of death and the stamp verstorben, died. When you see in this column and in this column the empty boxes, these are the people who survived. In Germany or in Landsberg, the plan was to have 3 bunkers built. And for these 3 bunkers we have outside camps of Dachau. The camp number 1 and the camp number 3 were built for our bunker. The camp number 4 and the camp number 9 was built for the bunker in the north. During the construction we found out that the gravel was not good enough. The camp number 9 was closed and the bunker was moved. The same happened in the south. In Seestahl, the camp number 8 was opened, and during the production we found out that the gravel was not good enough. The camp was closed and the construction site was moved. The camp number 11 and the camp number 2 were opened. For building the infrastructure, it means the railway line and the streets, the camp number 7 was established. And for the prepared beams, the camp number 10 was opened in Utting am Ammersee. And the camp number 6 were built in Türkheim. Türkheim was a special purpose. I told you that in each bunker 30,000 people had to work. If you have 3 bunkers, it means 90,000 people need documentation. Therefore, we started to build houses next to the railway line. Türkheim, Buchloe, Kaufering, until Türkenfeld. This is next to Munich. The plan was to have every 2 kilometers next to the train houses so that the people can live there. And they started in Türkheim to build the houses, therefore the camp number 6 was established over there. I would like to introduce you now the camp number 1, because all the camps are similar. He built the same. And for your information, we had 10 concentration camps in Landsberg. 10, not 11. Literature always says 11. This is wrong. It was planned to have the camp number 5, but the camp number 5 was never established. This is the camp number 1 in Landsberg. To show you, I made it a little bit with color, so you can see it better. Double fence, barbed wire with electrical, that nobody can flee. Inside the earth huts, the living quarter for the inmates. yellow, the functional barracks. This is the delousing station, this is the kitchen, and this are factories for the blacksmith, for the carpenter, and for the man who's doing the clothes. Inside, once more, separated with a fence, is the females. Here are the females. Outside, in blue, this is the camp for the SS. Here the guard were at home, everything for the military purpose. The chief of the camp was there, but also the big chief, because the camp number 1 was the headquarter. And the big chief was here in this barrack. And what you can see here, this is a rose garden, especially made for the big boss, because you know, a concentration camp is a sad environment, so therefore you need some roses to have it lovely over there. Inside, the earth huts. Digged in the earth, this is the home of 30 to 80 people. This is a different picture. And I forgot now to say something. Typical. This yellow barracks here, 1, 2, 3, 1 here. These are the washing facilities and the toilets. And in the camp number 7, we had 4 years ago an archaeologist here, and he digged out one of these barracks. And we know that this barrack is now 18 meters long, and half of it was the washing facility. Shower, 9 shower facilities, 9, with tiled wall and nice facility. Believe me, sometimes we soldiers would like to have a nice shower like that. On the other half of it is the toilet, but not the toilet like we know. There was cut off the ground, underneath 3 by 3 meters, a box where the shit come in, and 5 people can sit on a balcony, no, there's not a bench. It was only a tree, cut tree of 5 people sitting here, other 5 people with the back to back. That means for 10 people you have a toilet. 10, 20, 30. 10 for the female. Filling capacity, 2,500 people. So the situation of the hygienic, unbelievable. So now the earth huts. You're living here, the straw was never removed. It means you have lice immediately. With the lice, the typhus is coming. And all the illnesses you can't believe on. And this is what the American found by the liberation. This man is living, he is sitting. You see the feet of his colleague. You can't see it by the feet if he's alive or not. And here the head of his neighbor. You can't see it if he's alive or not. And here you have other heads by head by head. The Americans were shocked. And this is the only picture what we have from the camp number 1. We assume that this picture was taken after the war, because you can see 2 persons standing here. And the reason why we believe it is after the war, you can see it on this earth hut here. This earth hut has already grass growing. That means it must be after the war, because during the war there was no grass in a camp, because the grass needed, it was eaten up. Today, nothing you can recognize that this is a camp. Industrial area. I can bring the camp over underneath, but you can see that you can go with the car through the camp now. And what you also can see is the street of the SS is paved now, but what you can also see, the barrack of the boss is now located in the tennis hall of Landsberg. I would like you to introduce you now some of the transports. The second transport arrived here in Landsberg is the 11th of July 44 with 500 men. We have here the transport papers, they survived. The Jews, prisoners of the transport to Dachau, were checked by the camp doctor and found to be healthy. They were deloused and provided with fresh clothes. The implementation of a 21-day quarantine has not been possible. A guarantee for no infectious diseases during the incubation period cannot be given. The prisoners came from a camp where infection diseases occurred. They must therefore undergo a 21-day quarantine on arrival. Der Lagerarzt SS Hauptsturmführer. Somebody able to read the signature? This is Mengele, exactly. This is the desk doctor for Mengele. He was in charge of the ramp for the selection, and he sent with this paper the second transport direct to Landsberg. And here's the paperwork. What you can see is Auschwitz II, that means Birkenau, Transportliste ungarische Judenkaufung nach Dachau. And then you have the list of 500 names underneath. And here we have a name occurred 3 times. And that shows exactly that this could be a family. And this was a family, the family Halpert, Jakob, Bernhard, and Marcel. The father arrived with his 2 sons. The mother and the daughters were gassed in Auschwitz. He came to Landsberg in the camp number 3, and we know that on the 8th of March 45, he and his youngest son got typhus, and he was sent to camp number 4, to the death camp. The middle, Bernhard, was sent to Turkheim. On the 8th of March, he got typhus. On the 10th of April, the father died. Marcel told me that he was talking with his father, on the bench. And suddenly, in the sentence, the father gave no answer back. He died on the 10th of April. On the 27th of April, the Americans would arrive. Just for the end, he died. Marcel survived. He is living in Israel today. His wife is a survivor of the camp of Mauthausen. 3 years ago, he was able to visit us. Now he is so ill, the doctor cancelled him. He is not allowed to fly anymore, but he is still alive in Israel. 10th of October 1944, 1,500 men. I would like to introduce you this family. This is the family Klingner from Prague. The father Leopold, the mother Leiska, the daughter Marie, the other daughter Zelenka. A happy family. The problem of this family is they're Jewish. So therefore, they had to go to a concentration camp, and they were sent in the concentration camp Theresienstadt. You see the original paper. He came to Theresienstadt on the 12th of September 1942. In the camp, the family was split up. The 2 daughters came on the 26th of January 43 to Auschwitz, not able to work, gassed. The mother followed them in October 44, gassed. The father was elected in September 44 as able to work. Everybody got a card. On this card, all the basic information are written on. On the left corner, the name and the profession. In the middle, the number of the concentration camp. And on the right side, this is the reason why the people are in the camp. Schutzhäftling Jude. With pencil written down, Kaufering. Kaufering, he came to Kaufering, and when he was moved, the Kaufering was rubbered out and another name was written down. This card was followed each prisoner. Here, the entrance in the camp book, Klingner Leopold. And we have here in this small box further information. Here it's written that on the 7th of January 45 he was moved from camp number 3 to the camp number 7. The next information I have of this person is dated with the 20th of March 45. Klingner Leopold Häftling 116185. Abgang durch Tod. That means he died. With this paper, his death was reported to Dachau. He is buried in the mass grave of camp number 7, the last person of the family, a complete family wiped out. 17th of November 44, 1,094 persons. We have once more the paper. Deployment of prisoners to Dachau for the work camp Landsberg 11 provision train station Kaufring next to Landsberg am Lech. And after this paperwork we have the names of 1,094 names. I selected one, Heinz. Heinz came from Berlin. His profession is Klempner, that means plumber. And after work he's playing guitar, because he likes to play guitar. And he's playing the guitar in the red light district of Berlin because he's doing swing music. And swing music is forbidden in Germany. It's Negergedudel. It's forbidden. But he's playing it. And during a razzia, the police caught him and they found out that he's Jewish. So he was sent to Theresienstadt. But he was lucky, because in Theresienstadt at that time the Germans made a movie, a propaganda movie, how nice it is in Theresienstadt. The title of this movie was Der Führer presents the Jewish a town. It shows how nice it is, because after work the man can play football, the female can make sticking work, and there is enough food there, there is a coffee, you know, we can listen music, and there's also dancing activities, swing music activities, and he is playing in a band. The Ghetto Swingers is the name of this band, and he's playing the drum. And everything is wonderful, everything is finished, and everything was finished. All the people were put in a train to the gas chamber to Auschwitz. And he was selected in Auschwitz once more by Mengele because he was able to play the guitar, and Mengele was bored on the ramp. And he had to play the guitar for him on the ramp. And I met him in the year 2000, and he told me, I can't play anymore one song. And I told him, why you can't play this song anymore? He says, yeah, I have to sit on a chair on the ramp, my guitar on my lap, and I played this song because it was the most loved song by Mengele, and the children walked in the gas chamber, and I had to watch in their eyes. So therefore, something broke in my heart. I can't do it anymore. So he volunteered for the next transport, and he came to Landsberg with this transport, and he survived Landsberg. And after the war, he went back to Berlin, and he was one of the famous musicians in Germany. Coco Schumann was his name. He played the electric guitar, and he played swing music until he died this year in spring. He died in the age of 96. Now we come to the victims. At the end of the war, the survivors said 60,000 our brothers and sisters died in Landsberg. 60,000. And the Landsberg people said, no, it's not true, it was only 6,000. Who is right? There was a struggle going on. And then people came together under the mayor in 1949. The decision was made that 15,500 people died in Landsberg. 14,500 died in Landsberg. Over the years, the amount rose. A few years later, it was 15,000, and in the year 2007, we had a memorial opened with the amount of 20,000. But at that time, it was only an estimate at this time. But in Bad Arolsen by Kassel, is next to Germany, the International Red Cross had an archive called the ITS, International Tracing Center. And in this archive, all the documents of the Holocaust are available. And the International Red Cross opened this archive, and in 2011 I was there with my colleague and we were able to work inside. And we bought 4,000 pages. We have all documents now, all death certificates. We have all paperwork. And now we knew that in Landsberg, 23,000 people were here in Landsberg. 23,000. Out of this 23,000, 6,334 people died, and we knew the names. On the 21st of April, the last concrete was done, and Dachau ordered all the members of the camps back to Dachau. And they had to march. We have two pictures from Landsberg. This is one of the two pictures. This is one of the march. This is the Neue Bergstraße, and these people are on the way back to Dachau. Because the plan was to kill them all together in Dachau. So therefore, also all people not able to work had to go back to Dachau. And this is the camp number 4, the death camp. And we have here the trains line running. The plan was to cut off the tree, they cut off the fence and put the guards, and the people had to walk to the train 400 meters. These are the grass, 400 meters. This is the camp over there. The picture is taken on the railway track. The people need one night because they had typhus, 40 degrees fever, nothing to eat for weeks, nothing to drink, walking scouted. They crawled on all 4 to the train. In the morning the train came. They entered the train. And then the train started to move. And in this moment, American fighter bomber came and attacked the train, at first the locomotive, and then attack. It was a massacre. How we knew that? Because we have eyewitnesses. My friend and his father was there. We have others. They reported this to us. But this happened on the 25th of April. On the 27th, the American arrived. And the Americans took pictures from the scenery. This is the same field. These are the people, they are not arriving the train. You see, skin and bones. A different view of the field when you can see the train line. And here people once more lying around. This is the people, they died during the attack. And 5 years ago, I meet this person. He was unloading the train. Chuck Brown, Dr. Chuck Brown, living in Los Angeles. And he unloaded the train of the death. He told me the story. Unfortunately, he died 2 years ago. He's not anymore with us. The train, the locomotive was changed out. All the survivors were put in the train once more. And the train had 3 train stations. Then he came to Schwabhausen. And there another attack came. This time the French bombers took the train. The result is 130 persons killed and 3 mass graves buried next to the train line now. The locomotive was changed. The survivors were put on the train. And on the night from the 27th to the 28th, the train arrived Dachau. When you see this is the paperwork. The people were recorded. From Arbeitskommando Landsberg, 105 persons. From Arbeitskommando Kaufering, 539 persons. They were recorded in Dachau in the night, and in the morning of the 28th, 30,043 people were in Dachau. You see, the bureaucracy was working until the end, because on the 29th noontime, the Americans arrived in Dachau. Coming back to Landsberg, on the 27th morning, camp number 4 was set on fire. The SS put fire. In the noontime, the Americans arrived. This is most probably the first picture of the camp number 4 done by the Americans. You see GIs entering, you see smoke is coming up, you see here all the smoke, and this is the 12th Armored Division. 12th Armored Division, and you see the GIs staying here around because here's the smoke. A lot of photographs is done here because this was a pile of humans, fuel they put over to get rid of evidences. The streets were full of dead persons. The Americans were shocked. The American went to Landsberg with trucks and picked up citizens of Landsberg. They had to clean up. They had to carry the dead together, and they had to dig out a mass grave. Now we have the time to count. 360 people were found, and 360 people were put in a mass grave. Colonel Seiler, this is the chief. This is the chief of the 12th Armored Division. On the last day, he put all the Germans together, and this is a translator. He is a Jewish who immigrated to America early enough and came back as a soldier. He was able to speak German. Max is his name. And he translated everything. And everything was written down because the Americans have journalists with them. The Washington Post and the New York Times were here, and everything was recorded. And this picture was on the 1st of May 45 in America in the newspaper. So we knew what he was saying. And he is staying in the middle of the desert and is talking to the Germans. And he told them, hey, look at this. I'm not believing that this is your fault, but look at this. This happened in your name. This happened in name of Germany. And these people were then buried. And the Americans found this man also. He was hiding in the forest with his Sunday suit. And later on, he found out this is the commander of the camp. Hauptmann Eichelsdorfer, captain of the army, married, 4 children. He was the chief of the camp from January to April 45. And during his period, 2,500 people died in the camp, buried in mass graves next to the lake. And he is standing also in the middle of the death, and he is asked by the journalist, and he says, I'm not guilty. I am not guilty. I had my orders. I would like to introduce you this person. Sturmscharführer Karl Hoffmann, SS-man since 1937, member of the party since 1933. And he took over Turkey in November 44. And he found out that his people are dying because they have no medicine. What he has done, he took his wallet, his own wallet, he went to the next pharmacy and bought medicine. Brought this medicine to the doctors, the camp doctors, and gave it to them and said, help yourself. Sunday after church, we're talking about an SS man, Sunday after church, he went to the Gasthaus and told to the farmers, my people are starving. Therefore the farmers brought with the cars sugar beans and potatoes and threw them over the fence. And he gave the order to the guard, when the farmers are coming, the guard has to turn around and look away. Because if a guard do not see things, it is not necessary to interfere. And I'm pretty sure that this person and this person had the same orders. But he is following his heart, or not his orders. This is an SS man. When the Americans arrived, he would like to catch him. So the Häftlinge got around him and told him, you helped us and now we will help you. This is a picture in summer 45. He's still in the camp. Because there was no living room, the people had to live in the camp. And you see here, GIs, this is Karl Hoffmann with a tie and a hat on. Because he was an eyewitness in the war criminal trials. Talking now about who was responsible. We have 4 bosses, the big bosses. Forstner, Langleist, Aumeier, Förster. Forstner was able to escape from the prisoner of war camp. 1955 he died, and the Americans found out who he was. He was never in front of a court. But Langleist, Aumeier, Förster was put in front of a court. The court says, guilty, death penalty. The camp leader, Defner, Eigesdorfer, Lippmann, Schwarzgruber, Kramer, Moll, Wagner, Schöttl, Schwarz, were put in front of a court. And except Defner, death penalty. The roll call leader, Schreier, Zisch, Kirsch, Tempel, were put in front of a court. The court says, guilty, death penalty. And the capo, he was himself a Häftling. He killed his own colleagues, Mr. Fischer. He was put in front of a court, and the court says, death penalty. I have the vitas of 300 guards. Most of the people were sent home because the American says, if you haven't fought as a guard, go home. The rest was put in front of a court. Most of the people were sent home because they haven't done anything. The other were from 1.5 years to impression of life. Everything was available. And the people were put to Landsberg because Landsberg has a prison, a famous prison, because Adolf Hitler was here 1924. And he was writing Mein Kampf here in Landsberg. Everything begins in Landsberg and everything ends in Landsberg. And in this prison, 297 people were hanged, because this was the war criminal prison for the American zone. All war criminals in the American zone were put to Landsberg, and 279 people were hanged and shot. We have here the grave of Oswald Pohl. Oswald Pohl, as I told you, the highest man in Berlin from the SS bureaucracy, and he was in the Nuremberg trials, death penalty, and he was hanged 1951 in Landsberg. In Landsberg, 1951, the last 7 war criminals were hanged. 1958, all the other criminals were sent home, and the prison was handed over to the German government. This is the graveyard today, and what you can see is there are always some candles somewhere, because the Nazis are still heroes. And on the grave of Oswald Pohl, they were put always flowers, but now 3 years ago, the body was digged out and sent home, and the grave is empty today. We're talking about the end of the war. What happened in the bunker? 8th of May 45. All the pieces, it had to be cleaned up. 55 locomotives were found here, 200 railway cars. All these things what you need to rebuild Germany, everything was given back to industry. And the Americans put this as a zone of no entrance. Since from 1945 to 40, nobody was allowed to enter the site. And the reason for that you can see on this field. This what you can see here is not straw and is also not wood. These are bombs. The complete bombs the Americans they collected here in Landsberg, and Landsberg was the biggest ammunition dump in Europe. And corroded. So what to do? So the Americans found this bunker, and they put the bombs in the bunker every 2 to 3 days and blow them up over 5 years. 1950 they stopped the doing because they had a better use for the bombs. They put all the bombs on the train from here to Bremerhaven and then on the ship. They were sent to Seoul because the North Korean war started, and the rest of the American bombs were dropped in China and North Korea. This is a picture. This is the V1. The V1. This is the first cruise missile. The first bomb without a pilot. And this is a symbol of the German-American friendship. The Americans steal everything what was available in Germany. They steal the V1 and came back 1945 with their version. This is the Matador, the first atomic weapon carrier in Europe. And 1956, the German Air Force was built, and the decision was made that we get also this toy. 58, we established a missile group in Kaufbeuern. The government of Germany decided 1959 that we bought 24 Matador and 95 Mace. This is the full-up system. And the question was where to store, where to maintain, and where to repair. And so the defense minister remembered that Landsberg is existing, the bunker in Landsberg. This is Franz Josef Strauß, our first minister of defense. And then in 1959, the decision was made to take this bunker. And this bunker from 1960 to 63 was rebuilt. Everything what was in was removed. And you see, everything what was in was removed, and it's an empty hall. In this empty hall, a second bunker was built. We have a bunker in the bunker. Then we had an airlock installed to enter with trucks. Then we put gravel and earth on it and plant trees. And the south entrance. We will enter the bunker now here. 5 floors about 0. Everything was finished 1964, and the German government decided not to buy Matador, to buy Pershing. Everything for nothing. What to do with the bunker? The bunker was used as a warehouse. Shelves were put in, and all the spare parts for the German Air Force were put in the bunker. 1964, we bought the Starfighter, and all the electronic equipment was put in the bunker for repair. 1980, the Tornado, the bomber what we're using still today, all the electronic equipment, we are doing the repair. At the moment, we are 115 soldiers and 90 civilians, and we are doing repair jobs, electronic Tornado. This is our task. We have these barracks are very new. This is the bunker. 1989, all the rest was built up. And what we're doing? We are doing remembrance work. We remember 6,335 people killed by this bunker building. We remember the bomb-proof aircraft factory and the nuclear bunker in the Cold War. And we remember also the military tradition, because military people retire here. In end of September this year, I will also retire. So this will be my home. So how to get everything together? And this we were able to do because we are a military historical collection with the title Memorial Site Weingut II. And what is our job? We have 2 persons here, me and another one, and we are doing guided tours here, like you. Last year we had 4,300 people visiting the bunker. We are doing research. We are doing remembrance work. And we are doing also celebrations. You have here these plates. We have the name of 6,334 names to remember that these people are not forgotten. And we remember we have coming together with survivors. This is the man, for example, he was doing the blocks. We coming together to celebrate the liberation of the camps. And the purpose why we're doing it, the motivation is that 1949 gave this young Republic Germany a constitution. The mother and the father of our constitution, they wrote this constitution out of the remembrance of the Second World War. Out of the remembrance that we Germans decided in Europe who has to live and who has to be killed. Out of this experience, the mother and father of our constitution gave us a constitution that is unique in the world. Because in our constitution we have the human rights written down. All the other nations are following only the human rights of the United Nations. but we have them written down expressly. And the first paragraph what we have, die Würde des Menschen ist unantastbar. Sie zu achten und zu schützen ist die Verpflichtung aller staatlicher Gewalt. Die Würde des Menschen, simple in German, complicated in English. Human dignity shall be inviolable. To respect and protect it shall be the duty of all state authorities. Human dignity shall be inviolable. A simple sentence. If we would follow this sentence all of the world, we would not need police, we would not need military. Die Würde des Menschen ist unantastbar. So, I'm finished now. Thank you very much.